Madam Speaker, I rise today to offer a critical amendment with Representatives Pascrell, King, Grimm, Welch, Johnson, Reed, Enyart, and DeFazio, and others. This amendment funds the highly successful COPS hiring program at the FY 2014 level, ensuring the safety of our communities and neighborhoods. That should be one of our first priorities, and we cannot afford to do that without sufficient number of capable police officers trained across our country. I became a law enforcement officer because I wanted to serve and help others. I brought that same desire to Congress. The COPS program helps others do the same. We cannot protect this nation without adequate funding for law enforcement. Their service is our gain. Madam Speaker, this program is vital. I was in law enforcement for 33 years. I started out in a patrol car, was actually hired in 1972 under a federal grant. After 30-some years or so, I became the sheriff of King County, and I was able to use those grants again to hire additional police officers in the sheriff's office. And those additional police officers are used to be a part of federal teams, federal law enforcement task force efforts across this country. To mention a few, cybersecurity task force we have in some of the major cities across this country, integral to protecting this nation, not only our entire country, but our communities. You cannot do that with just federal resources. We always talk about the federal, state, and local partnerships. As federal representatives, and the FBI came to me when I was the sheriff and said, we want to work with you. Provide a police officer to our Joint Terrorism Task Force, provide a police officer to our task force to fight gangs, and provide a police officer to be a part of our DEA effort to impact the use of drugs and reduce the use of drugs in our communities. Well, Madam Speaker, local police departments and sheriff's offices don't have the money to continue to supply police officers to these federal efforts, but they know they're needed. And I would like to join everyone in congratulating the chairman on his distinguished career and his efforts here today in support of protecting our country. Mr. Wolf has done an outstanding job over his years of service. From my perspective, though, we really need to strengthen this partnership, and the way that you do that is you allow these grants to be fully funded. You allow access to police chiefs and sheriffs across this country to hire additional police officers to be a part of a national effort to reduce human trafficking. And this is one of Mr. Wolf's, I know, passionate issues right now, as well as other members of Congress. It has been highlighted, and we need to highlight it still. But the federal government cannot stop human trafficking alone. They need the help of those local police officers and detectives on the street. If we don't have the people, we won't be putting them on the street. If they're not on the street, if they're not working these cases, they won't be solved. And if they're not solved, then our children, Madam Speaker, are going to be at risk. So I stand today to offer this amendment because I know it's the right thing to do. I know it creates a partnership, a true partnership between the federal, the state, and the local agencies. It is critical, it is vital to our local law enforcement communities to have access to these grants, to be a part of the national effort to fight not only local crime, but those crimes across state borders, and international crimes are something we also get involved in. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I yield.